All right, good evening. It's 5:30, and at this time, I'll call to order the Stephenville City Council regular business meeting here on Tuesday, June the 7th at 5:30 p.m., and welcome everyone tonight. We are looking for the pastor from Harvey Baptist Church, Mr. Swada, and he's not here. Supposed to be here this evening. I guess he's on his way. So, if y'all will join me in a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come before you tonight, humbly acknowledging your authority in all things. Lord, we come together as a people to do your will. Guide us tonight, Lord, in a way that would glorify you and our purpose here in this community. Lord, we thank you for the citizens of this community and ask you to help us recover from the storms. Lord, we just thank you for the work of the people, the staff here within the city, and the council members for their heart of service. Lord, we have decisions before us tonight, and we ask that you guide us as only you can. Lord, thank you for your grace and your mercy, and for our time here this evening. May it be pleasing in your sight. I pray in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. All right, if you'll please stand, we'll say the pledges. Out of the way here. All right, if y'all can look at the Texas flag with me, please. We're going to say the pledge to the Texas flag because we're in the great state of Texas, and then we're going to say the pledge of allegiance to the American flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Right, that's good. All right, thank you, Cindy. All right, the first item, I guess, of action tonight on the agenda is the time of year when we, as a council, look to citizens' budget requests. And we've got a couple that have been submitted, and I'll see if at this time if either of those groups would like to come forward and speak before the council, and then see if there's any other requests. So at this time, see if Mr. Mark Wallace would like to come forward and make a statement.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Pretty much everything I have to say is basically outlined in the letter that you should have in your packet. I've lived in Stephenville and on Northdale for the last 13 and a half years, and I've had numerous residents come to me to complain about the speeding that goes on Northdale. There's been numerous near misses at the intersection of Dale and Bluebonnet, and we've also had several accidents that have been at that intersection. One of those actually ended up in our front yard. So I did have a chance to talk to the chief over here, and he was nice enough to put traffic counters up, right, to determine the traffic for the next couple of days. And then what we're going to do is take a count now and then take a count in September. So I would respectfully ask that this issue be put into a committee meeting and considered at a later date.
Okay, well, Mark, let me just remind you and the council that we're not voting on any of these items tonight. This is really just an opportunity for us to become more aware of what your proposals are, and we'll take that forward through the budget process. So,
right.
So thank you.
Mean, it is an issue on Northdale because, especially during the school year, I've been outside in the mornings at 6:30, 6:45, and our house also doubles as a bus stop. And there have been numerous times that I've seen little children out there. And little children being what they are, they tend to wander out in the street while they're waiting for the bus. And there have been numerous cars and trucks that have literally flying by there with total disrespect or disregard for the speed limit and for the children that are standing out there. So the speeding is an issue, and I've actually had neighbors that came over to my house last week and said, can you help us do something about the speeding issue on Northdale? So that's why I submitted my request.
Okay, any questions?
I might make one comment that it's
Okay.
not exclusively little children that wander out in the street. If you drive around the Tarleton campus, you'll see the same thing.
All right, thank you, Mark, for that input. And like I said, we're not going to vote on any of these requests tonight, but it is an opportunity for the citizens to provide input on what they're bringing forward. The second request we've got is from the group that has been organizing Sundown on the Square and the committee. And I don't know if anyone would like to come forward and speak on behalf, or all three. There were four.
I'm Marion Cole.
And I'm Meta Collier. And this is Patricia Weldon handing out the brochure. Mayor, city council members, thank you so much for having us or letting us tell you just a little bit about Sundown on the Square. And I might add, these brochures are hot off the press. You all are the first one in Stephenville, other than the committee, that will get to see this. The Sundown on the Square, we're gonna prelude Diane Wilson. She's with the museum. We're just doing a fundraiser to support the museum. It's October the 8th. It's a family-friendly event from 5 until 9. It is on the square, and if you were fortunate enough to have been there last year, it was wonderful, and this year it's going to be a little bit bigger and better. We've added some activities, and Marion, you want to tell them a little bit about what we've added? And
One of the things we've added is it's called the Rodeo Zone, because the theme of this year's event is we're honoring the rodeo and cowboy and cowgirl heritage of Stephenville and Erath County. And this Rodeo Zone is this man in Saginaw builds robotic animals, and he sets it up in the street just like a rodeo. In fact, Patricia, we went up to see, and Patricia rode one of the horses, and Meta rode the bronking bass.
Did you get bucked off?
But he sets it up just like a rodeo, and young people, kids, adults, everybody can participate in it. So that's one of the fun things that we've added this year.
And the Tarleton Rodeo team, there's 60 of them that are gonna be volunteering that night to help this guy from Saginaw with the rodeo zone. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But we've added also a wine tasting, and we've added extra food vendors because we're having 3 musicians come. Jody Cottle will be there as a disc jockey, and then C.B. Sutton will be there for an hour and a half, and then we're gonna end up with Michael Martin Murphy. So Doug Montgomery, of course, is helping us set that up, and the city is helping sponsor that. But Doug said be sure and know that your crowd's gonna double. So then we called Tarleton to get their volunteers to help, and they said, well, your crowd's just doubled again because it's Parents' Weekend. So we're expecting about 2,500 people there. So Marion has been working like crazy getting the food vendors together, and tell them what you're adding. It's exciting about the food trucks.
Well, we're gonna add a few food trucks this year, and in addition to the restaurants in the historic district downtown that will be open, they'll be setting up their booths. But we've got 2 or 3 food trucks that are gonna be coming and adding a new twist to the event. So we hope you all will come, and one of the reasons we are up here tonight is that we are here to support the museum's request for a budget item on your part. So I think we'll turn this over to Diane Wilson, who is on the board of the museum. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And before you sit down, let me just on behalf of the council, thank y'all for your effort with this for our community. It is, does anybody have any questions?
We're living and breathing this thing. We think everybody
Yeah.
knows as much as we do about
Any
it.
comments or questions for the group?
Let's get out of their way.
Okay.
Come
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'll just say it's fun to see history being made. I mean, this is something that's gonna be, around Stephenville for a long time. And it's a perfect example of how to do this, because you've done it with, finding a way to give back to the community in ways that we might not be able to by ourselves. And it's wonderful, which I guess leads to Diane in your request. So,
Diane Wilson. I'm Secretary of the Board of Directors of the Stephenville Museum, and I'm also the chair of the Oxford House Preservation Project. And the Sundown on the Square funds raised this year are going to be applied to the parking area for the Oxford House. We finally managed to get the exterior painted, repaired and painted, and we now need the parking area and Shepherd Street renovated so that it keeps the house cleaner, makes it more attractive, and then that will lead us into the interior reconstruction, which will be done at a much later date. I've sent the letter to you requesting the city consider renovating Shepherd Street, which is the short street that runs between the museum itself and the Oxford House and ends at the Bosque River trailhead. We do have site plans for half of that street, along with the Oxford House parking area. There are no site plans that I'm aware of for anything north of the Oxford House property line, which would be between the house and the Bosque River trailhead. But it would be beneficial, we feel, because it would benefit the Bosque River Trail, the museum, as well as the Oxford House area by beautifying and making it safer for people using those areas. Right now, it's rough, rocky, drainage is not good in those areas, and it needs to be renovated to provide a better entrance to the trail as well as parking for the Oxford House. Part of the project would be to use the reclaimed Thurber bricks from the streets that have been redone and use that to pave the parking lot of the Oxford House and part of Shepherd Street. And as I said, we do have plans showing that much. That's basically the request we're making.
okay. All right, thank you, Diane. Any questions for Diane?
Well, I did want to make a comment that I asked about today, because after seeing the destruction of the parking lot on the other end of the trail yesterday, I want to say that this parking lot was not, where this parking lot is proposed is above where the flood was, so we wouldn't have that same problem with this parking lot.
We do have a bid that has been attached to your letter. It is not current. We're waiting on an update of that bid, but have not gotten it yet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diane. All right, are there any other citizens' budget requests that we didn't receive before the meeting, or if anyone would like to come forward at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item. We've got the Type B Economic Development Authority to consider approval and recommendation to employ John Hubbard as Executive Director of CETA. So we've got the President of the Board here tonight, Matt Harpole. And Matt, I'll turn the floor over to you and let you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Again, my name is Matt Harpo, President of the CETA Board, and we're here tonight to present the lone finalists that we have for our Executive Director position. We did hire Mike Barnes' group to do our consulting on that, and he came back within the first month with over 20 applicants, and we narrowed it down to 3 very qualified applicants. And at this time, I'd like to introduce John Hubbard to y'all, to let him tell you a little bit about himself, and open it up for questions afterwards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And John, welcome tonight.
Welcome.
And,
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here. As I said, my name is John Hubbard, and let me just say this one thing. This is kind of an anecdotal message or something, but we're all talking about Muhammad Ali right now, and I've gotten a lot of calls from my people over in Abilene, which is right down the road. I'm going to try really hard to be a cowboy. I'm going to try real hard to do that. But they called me. I had a trip that we took several years ago to Russia, and I didn't know it, but Muhammad Ali was there at the same time. And so I'm walking through the airport, and some people come up to me and they go, Ali, Ali. And I go, no, I'm not Ali. And I didn't know he was there, had been there. And so they kept on with that, and we had to catch a plane. So I finally said, okay, yes, I'm Muhammad Ali, so they would just leave me alone. Well, that was a big mistake because they got pieces of paper and pencil, and they wanted, you know what? So after I found out how to spell Muhammad, I went on and I probably signed about 50 autographs at least. So it was a bunch, so I could get on that plane. And the only reason why I say that is, I don't know why I said that. Well, yes, I do. That I'm John Hubbard. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited about that. I'm not Muhammad Ali, but I do think that. Well, I know that we're going to be able to do a lot of exciting things here. One of the things that attracted me to Stephenville was the attitude, the can-do attitude. Now, Matt has said, I think we're kind of behind the 8 ball and stuff. We're getting into stuff late, but really you're not. You're not. You've got everything put in place. You guys are doing economic development, and what's so interesting, there are a lot of different definitions on what economic development is, but really, economic development is what the citizens want. That's what really economic development is. And you guys have been practicing that for years before I got here. All I'm going to do, my job is going to be easy because you guys are already working on that. Now, I've been in the economic development field for a long time, more years than I had hair when I first started with the economic development. But I've had fun with it and had success with it, and I'm just glad that I can be here. I'd like to answer any questions that you might have for me at this time.
Okay. Questions for John?
Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, what do you want to know?
Just Reader's Digest.
Reader's Digest. Okay, well, I am a certified economic developer. I'm also a economic development finance professional, and I'm also and I think there are only 4 of us that have all 3 certifications. I'm also a professional certified economic developer, which all that really means is I was able to accomplish something, but I'm pretty proud of those as well. I'm currently a doctoral candidate at the University of Southern Mississippi in human capital development, and once I get finished dancing with my dissertation chair, I should have that done this month. So that's been pretty exciting for me. I can tell you about my dissertation, I give it a title, and then maybe we can talk about some more other things as well. But my title is Human Capital Development the Missing Element of the Aerotropolis Model? Now, the Aerotropolis model talks about airports. And one of the things that excites me about here is that we've got this airport, and we have a lot of land around this airport, and we've got to figure out what we can do. I think it can really be a catalyst to help this whole region with that. So that's kind of that. So that's kind of a selfish reason I have that I want to be here, because I see so much potential in what we've got here. Now, I sing with this group called the Vocal Majority, and I'm actually the program vice president, and I'm already talking to them about, hey, you know what, you've got to come down to Stephenville, and we've got to do something here, maybe at the square or something like that. So I don't know whether you've heard of them, but we're actually probably, and I guess if it's true, it's not boasting, but we're probably the best men's barbershop quartet in the world. We've won 12 international gold medals, so not even close to anyone else has won anything like that. So, but on a personal level, I'm married, I'm a grandfather. I'm a grandfather.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I have a 5-year-old and a 4-month-old, and I guess I've got some kids, and I wish you could skip the kids and just go straight to the grandkids. So I do have 3 grown, three grown children. What else would you like to know?
What do you like to do?
Well, besides
Sing in the
singing,
barbershop quartet.
well, I'm in a quartet too, and I'm one of the smaller guys in the quartet. Our bass is 7'3" and 625 pounds.
Woo.
He's a mountain man, so I really like the quartet.
Are you
and stuff.
tenor?
And, pardon me?
Are you a tenor?
Well, in barbershop, it's not. I would be the lead
Okay.
in that, but the tenor's actually a little bit higher than.
higher.
But in a regular 4-part, I would be a tenor.
Good.
Any other questions?
Can you tell us about any businesses you lured to your last position?
Well, I can, and let me take, and thank you for reaching out to me too. Probably, I'm thinking of so many, but I want to talk about one back in Balch Springs, and that's the whole thing's about relationships, and I've developed relationships along the years, and one of them is with the Crunky Group, and I've already actually unofficially already talked to the Crunky Group about, hey, you've got to come here and see what's going on. This is a really great place to be. The Crunky Group, if you don't know who they are, like if you may have heard of the Rams. He's owned by Stan Kroenke. Well, he also has a lot of retail stuff all over the place. He's married into the Walton family. And most of the places, when you go to a Sam's or you go to a Walmart, they actually lease the building from the Kroenke Group. And so one of the projects that I worked on, that I'm very proud of, that we worked on, was a 50,000 square foot retail development that was there. And it really served a catalyst as with some other development that's going on there. So that's one of them. The other thing I think of is when I was in Hutchins was there's this place called Odessa, and it's kind of an auto resale place, I guess what it is. But it does a lot more than that. They do repairs, and it served as a catalyst for hotels that went up in the area. And I always smiled when I think on Thursdays there are more people at that Odessa place than live in Hutchins. Hutchins is about 5,000 people, and there are probably at least that, more than that are at that. But it's helped a lot of things. And what makes me really happy about those two things are the economic development. Really, economic development and community development are kind of together, but it provides the opportunity for things that may not be able to be done by themselves to have the revenue to do things like parks and streets that we were talking about. And so that makes me really happy I think of those things fondly.
We're excited to see some.
I'm excited to be here too. I really am.
Any other questions? Let me just get you to mention for the group your experience with something that I think will be important to the community to hear, and that's with business retention and expansion.
Oh, yes. One of the things I did in Balch Springs was, and I've said this a couple times, I think, in the interviews, but it's really important that we look at the people that really got us where we are, the businesses that are here. And a lot of times it's all really kind of, the thing that people want to do is go out and attract, and yeah, you want to do that, but also you want to remember and support the people that are here in town, the businesses that are here already, and give them that support that they need. And I started the first business retention expansion program in Balch Springs, and I'm really proud of that. We were able to reach out. We couldn't reach out to all the businesses in 1 year, but we divided it out, and we met with them. What we did, we had kind of a hybrid program. We had the mayor and the chamber president, and perhaps some of the department heads, depending on what the need was for the business, go and visit. And they were really happy that someone took the time out to help them. And as a result, we wound up with 2 expansions that were there. And then there was an opportunity for us to get some additional sales tax. What happened, because there was a sign that said no parking, they decided they would have their pickups come to another city. And we said, we can get rid of that sign. And so it helped them out, and it helped the city out as well. But it's important that we don't neglect our businesses that are here already. They've got us where we are. And then on another moment, or another thought, is that 80% of all new businesses, new work, new jobs come from existing businesses. So it's real important to get that done as well.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you help us with our sales tax issue that we talked about with existing businesses?
Yeah. All right, Matt?
How we came up with John is when we did talk to Mike Barnes, one of the factors he told us, he said, looking at what you did last time or our first hire, that you really need to hire somebody with the experience, advanced degree, and what it takes to do that, it's going to take more money. It's going to take right at $100,000. And the best analogy I can tell you on that is we have a football team here in town. We're trying to win the football game, and we need a new coach. Do we go hire a coach that's 2-8 on a losing season? Or do we hire a winning coach that's existing from another place that just won the state championship? to get into the caliper, to have the advanced degree, the experience that John has, took us to $100,000. And that's the reason why you see the jump that we did. In order to get any other caliber of person that John or the other 20 applicants had, would be to pay that amount. And if we would have kept it at 72,000, what it currently was at, I would hate to say that we'd be in the same situation that we were. So we're trying to get to where we can move forward with CETA and not look back in 2 years now. He has a 2-year contract. In 2 years from now, look at ways we can automatically renew that because he's done such a great job.
Okay, any questions for Matt on that?
So they're asking from us to approve the recommendation to hire John for the position. Is that what our role
Right,
is tonight?
right. So we need to, and I'll, at this time, entertain a motion to consider approval of the recommendation from CETA to employ John Hubbard as Executive Director for CETA based on their recommendation.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
All right, so moved by Mr. Savine, seconded by Mr. Pendleton. Any discussion? Okay, if not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving the recommendation to employ John Hubbard as Executive Director of CETA, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous approval. Mr. John Hubbard, welcome.
Thank y'all very
Welcome,
much.
Stephenville.
Thank you very much for your confidence in me, and we're going to work hard. We're going to just do lots of great things working together.
Okay.
Thank you.
Y'all get this spout out of tune right quick.
Yeah, that's right. I tell you what, are you gonna stay here?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna come back to you.
Okay.
All right. I also want to thank the CETA board for your work. I know that it has been, I know there are 3 members here tonight, Marion, Shelby, and Matt. But please pass to the board from the council that we really appreciate y'all's work and diligence in this, and we're just excited. So thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is the capital improvement program discussion, and I'll turn the floor over to Pat Bridges to lead us through that.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the last several months, Jeremy Allen and I have been working to put together a capital improvement program. That's involved a lot of time, a lot of research. Mr. Allen's made several road trips at my request, looking at what other cities were doing, and so we've put our own little program together. Got 2 or 3 slides here to talk about that. Go ahead and advance the next slide, please. Keep going. Okay. For those that don't know, the Capital Improvement Program coordinates community planning, financial capacity, and physical development. It's done to ensure that we've got sound fiscal capital planning. The big thing, it requires effective leadership, and I will say leadership from the council and staff, not a one-sided effort, and involvement, cooperation of all municipal departments. It's a limited amount of funds, as we all know, and so this capital improvement program serves to establish a priority that we've not necessarily done in the past. Next slide, please. As you can see, the purpose of it is to implement and facilitate the city's comprehensive plan. It is a blueprint for how we're going to spend money on our capital projects being things such as infrastructure, land, new facility development, update of current facilities, those sorts of things. Next slide, please. Numerous benefits that I'll not sit here and read off to you. One of the keys is spending our funds wisely and spending them on the high priority projects. Who determines what the priority is going to be? Well, that's kind of what we're moving towards. One of the things that we're doing is, and it'll start tonight after the council meeting, we'll have a survey that goes online All the directors thus far have put together their capital improvement projects for the upcoming budget process. We are asking the citizens to go in and look at each and every one of these in a survey that's online and tell us how important each one of those projects is to them, where it falls. We'll have a couple of town hall meetings, one on the 9th and one on the 16th, that directors will be there to answer questions about their particular projects. Citizens will have an opportunity to vote during those meetings as well, either on hard copy or we'll have some laptops set up for those who wish to vote electronically. We'll do this survey through the end of the month, and then that should give council some idea going into the budget process as to what the community thinks is most important with regards to the capital projects, and that will aid you as you go forward and score and determine what projects will actually be funded in the next fiscal year. Next slide. And this is just more of the benefits of this capital improvement program. It does increase opportunities for obtaining aid, keeps the public informed about future needs and projects, and encourages careful project planning and design. Any questions about that? Okay. And that's all I've got on that, Mayor.
Okay. Any questions for Pat on that?
The town halls are here.
Town halls will be down at the rec center,
Rec Center.
June 9th and June 16th from 6 to 7:30.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, well, I just encourage folks to come out on the 9th or the 16th, and just want to thank Pat and Jeremy for your work on that, and the council, your input and review, and we also got input from some other organizations on that, so great work. All right, the next item, Pat, we'll keep the mic at your end of the table to consider approval of a resolution authorizing the creation of North Central Texas Council of Governments Regional 911 Emergency Communications District.
Okay. For those of you that don't know, the COG currently administers the state's 911 program for the city of Stephenville and Erath County. They are charged with providing emergency dispatch centers with the latest and best available equipment and technology and ensuring that it's working on a 24-hour, 365-day basis. They also assist with training our dispatch personnel and call takers. One of the problems that the program has is they're basically not getting money that they should be receiving. Citizens and businesses alike are charged 50 cents on their phone bills to pay for 911 service. This money is remitted to the state, and the state has been holding on to it until the legislature appropriates all or part of the funds back to the Commission on State Emergency Communications. And then these funds are allocated back to the COGS. The problem with it is the legislature does not always appropriate the money back to the COGS, but retains some of it to show a balanced state budget on paper. At this time, the state's holding about $150 million, and about 15% of that's been collected from our region. So basically, if this regional emergency communication district is formed, it will continue to ensure that we have the type of equipment and training that we need to have in order to provide emergency services to the communities in the years to come. Just as of right now, there have been 35 cities in this area that have already agreed to and passed this resolution that you all are being asked to pass tonight. In our particular district, there are 13 counties and 137 municipalities. So we're trying to jump on board early and send a message to the state that we want the money that's owed to us. So I would ask you all to approve this resolution.
Okay, any questions for Pat on that? I know we've had the information here to review. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move we approve resolution number 2016-R08.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Pendleton, seconded by Mr. Clinton to approve Resolution 2016-R08, authorizing the creation of North Central Texas Council of Governments Regional 911 Emergency Communications District. Any discussion? That was a mouthful, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes unanimous, approving that resolution. I want to say something just quickly about what we just voted on, because I'm going to come back to it in another agenda item. The simple version of what Pat just said is that there are millions of dollars that are state and federally appropriated every year that are, the decision about how those dollars are spent are dependent upon decisions that committees make at the Council of Governments. We fall under the North Central Texas Council of Governments. It is a 14-county area that goes from just east of Tarrant County, Dallas County, and the counties that surround it. And so a simple version of what Pat said there is that there are thousands of dollars that are being appropriated by a legislative body either in Washington or in Austin, and somebody isn't getting the money back to us, the taxpayers, according to what we're participating in. So it's really important for us to engage in these efforts. All right, the next item on the agenda, yeah.
You know, our nominating committee has the responsibility to set other recommendations to state
Right,
government.
right.
Maybe we as a council ought to take that issue up, particularly where they're holding money to balance state budget. We may want to do some other kind of resolution to deal with that as well.
Okay,
We've done that in the past as other councils.
okay. Well, that's you got the note of that? All right, the next item on the agenda is to consider approval of the council committee appointments, and every year, according to our rules and procedures, the mayor takes the committees that we have, there's 7 of them, and get input from the council members about what they would like to, the committees they'd like to serve on, and then a lot of the work that's done during work sessions falls into the relationship between the committees and the staff in those areas. For example, community services, finance, nominations, personnel, planning and development, public health and safety, and public works. And so I've presented to the committee, to the council, a recommendation based on everyone's input. And I have to propose tonight committee services chaired Sherry Zachary, finance Doug Savine, nominations Brett Harrison, personnel Mark McClinton, planning and development Jerry Warren, public health and safety Brady Pendleton, public works Alan Nix. And then the council members are divided among these committees. Most of the committees have 3 members, finance and public works have 4. And so I would entertain a motion to adopt these committee appointments.
I'll move we adopt the committee appointments as previously read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pendleton, seconded by Mr. Nix to adopt the committee appointments as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, unanimous vote approving the committee appointments as presented.
Mayor, I want to thank you because I know that that's not an easy task to try to resolve and address and comply with all the requests that you do on that, and I appreciate that because I know it takes some time and some thought to put that together, and I appreciate that.
Well, let me just say that this year was different. I got a lot of wherever you need me, whatever it takes, how can I help? And I really appreciate that, so thank y'all. It's complicated to try to get this sorted out because you can't have too many on one committee, but I think it reflects the team spirit of the council, and I want to thank you for helping me. All right, the next item is the election of Mayor Pro Tem, and we'll do that by opening the floor for nominations. I'll accept nominations, And then I'll close nominations, and depending on whether we have one or more, we'll vote on a nominee, and then we'll vote to adopt that nominee. So at this time, I'll open the floor for nominations for Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor?
Sorry.
Mr. McClinton.
I think the position of Mayor Pro Tem needs to be held by someone that has experience with policies, protocols, and procedures of the council. And because of that, I'd like to nominate Mr. Alan Nix.
Okay. Other nominations?
Yes, I would like to nominate Rhett Harrison. I think that he's got the proper temperament and the interest in certain of the things, the CD Economics Board and some other things that would certainly help.
Okay. Other nominations? All right, then at this time, I'll close the nominations for Mayor Pro Tem. And we will vote by show of hands. And we will start with Mr. Nix. So all those in favor of Mr. Nix?
Do we have any discussion on that, Mayor?
Oh, okay, yeah, we can go ahead.
Just
I'll do that.
Just real quickly, I think a couple things. Number one, I'm not sure, based upon prior history, why anybody would want to be the mayor pro tem. The cities have not gone real well for the past couple that have served. So congratulations to one of y'all that win. Secondly, I just think, of course, prior precedence has always been that the most senior member of the council has kind of been served in that role. But of course, I think last time was not the case. So either one of y'all, good luck. Maybe we'll see you around in 2 years, maybe not. So.
It's a one-year appointment.
1 year appointment.
Any, yeah.
I'm really.
Yeah.
There you go.
Any
That's
other
not very
comments?
encouraging, is it?
From the group?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I appreciate the support, but I don't think at this time it's probably in the interest for me to accept Mayor Pro Tem or be nominated at this point, so that's the way I feel about it.
Okay. Any other comments? Mr. Nix, do you want to, are you going to accept the
Stump speech,
nomination, I
Alan.
guess?
I will accept the nomination and the challenge.
Okay.
I think it is both, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do here, Mr. Harrison, if that's okay with you, I'm going to pull your nomination.
That's fine.
At your request, is that?
Yes, that's
Mr.
certainly
Zachary?
fine with me, yes.
So Mr. Nix is the nominee for Mayor Pro Tem.
Back to Mr. Mayor.
And I will entertain a motion then for his,
I move that Alan Nix be appointed the next Mayor Pro Tem by acclamation.
okay. A motion by Mr. Savine, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Zachary, okay. And any discussion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you, sir.
Sucker.
Unanimous. All right, the next item is the election of a voting representative to the North Central Texas Council of Governments. This is a position, annually there is a board that is elected by the COG, and each municipal jurisdiction within the COG is able to send a representative to vote on behalf of the jurisdiction for that. And I've talked to Mr. Pendleton about serving in this position. This was previously held by Mr. Wagner, and he's since departed, so I don't know, Brady, based on your prior comments, you may not want to.
No, Mr. Mayor, I'd be more than happy to
Be
serve,
right.
so I would, if nomination open, I would nominate myself to serve in that position.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay,
Only if Carla comes with me and drives me, though.
okay.
The Transportation Committee.
All right, any discussion? Or proceed to vote then. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that vote's unanimous. Brady Pendleton is the voting representative. Now, one of the first tasks that we need to consider as a council, and we talked about this at our offsite recently, and Pat Bridges gave us a copy tonight at our table. There are 3 committees at the COG that are of utmost importance to communities our size. One is the Regional Transportation Council, which decides all things related to where money goes for streets and roads. The second is the Regional Committee for the Texas Community Development Block Grants. So projects like for sewer, water, streets, actually get voted on by a committee about which ones get approved. And the third is Surface Transportation Technical Committee, which deals with providing funds for surface transportation planning, streets, where are highways gonna be in the future, what are projects gonna be on 281, 67, 377, as well as discussions related to the funding of those improvements. And so one of the things that we talked about as a council is trying to find a way for us to get representation, or at least go to some of these meetings so that we as a community can be informed with how and who is making decisions about this money. And I think as a personal recent example, I have been fortunate enough to be selected to be on the Brazos Region G Water Development Board. And because of that, sitting on those boards, I've just been able to hear and meet people that have opened up doors for us to pursue grants, for example, to support water and sewer projects here in Stephenville. And it's not that those programs didn't exist, it's just finding out about them firsthand is the power of presence. And so this is a strategy that the council is taking up for this community, and I'm proud to say that we've been united in this concern to realize that there are millions of dollars literally that are decided by the COG every year, and we have got to get involved in that process so that we can stay informed and recoup some of those dollars here locally. So we as a council are gonna look at these committees, and Brady will be going up to these meetings, and then Pat will be looking to find out when the meetings are, and council members hopefully will be able to volunteer some of their time to drive up to Arlington, it's next door to Six Flags, and participate in some of those meetings. So thank you for that. Okay. All right, the next item is the advanced funding agreement for transportation improvement project. There's an exciting partnership between Stephenville, Tarleton, and TxDOT. So, Pat?
Nick, you wanna explain that?
Thank you. The agreement that you have in here, there's 2 agreements. The first one is an advanced funding agreement with TxDOT and the city. And the reason that this agreement exists is TxDOT will partner only with the city as an extension of the state. That the city therefore just acts as a pass-through with Tarleton being the other party. The second agreement that you'll see in here is with the city and the university, and what that does is it simply states that the university will take care of all the expenses associated with the traffic signal. So what happened here was the university requested a traffic signal be installed at Washington and St. Felix. TxDOT did a study and said, yes, it is warranted, and then said, okay, now we need to have an agreement in place, and what that does is the city acts as the intermediate, or the middleman, if you will, to ensure that funds are taken care of. Now, the second agreement that you have, which by the way has been approved by our city attorney, both agreements have been approved by the city attorney, it ensures that the signal is installed at absolutely no cost to the city. So I just want to make that point very clear. It is at absolutely no cost to the city of Stephenville.
Okay, any questions for Nick?
So Nick, real quick, so we're writing a check to TxDOT, and then Tarleton in turn reversing us for those costs?
That is it in a nutshell. Yes, sir.
Fantastic, great.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so this, on page 26 of our agenda, if you've got it. It's the agreement attachment A, and it says that this is an estimate only. Total amount of local government participation will be based on actual costs. So you're saying there's no way that that sentence comes into play at all?
That's correct.
Okay.
The overruns are, if there are any overruns, are, they're addressed in that secondary agreement with the university.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? Alan?
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understand that this will be done solely at the expense of Tarleton. There will be no city of Stephenville taxpayer dollars expended on this project anywhere. Is that correct?
That is absolutely 100% correct.
Okay. I thought that was correct, but I wanted to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I have a question.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of people have asked that.
At
Where's the
Dairy Queen.
restaurant? At the Dairy
St.
Queen.
Yeah, St. Felix is over by the Dairy Queen.
No, it's
and,
by-
In the bookstore.
Well, it's in that part of town.
by the
So
old
let's just put it
Schlotzsky's.
that way. It's down closer to,
Closer.
Tarleton's putting a walkway there.
Right, it's directly across from the baseball fields.
yeah, the
if that
baseball
helps.
field area.
I think
Yes.
it hits left field.
Pedestrian crossing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's near the Dairy
Gonna slow
Queen
down
versus the
traffic.
Sonic. Let's just
Yeah.
say.
Yes, sir.
Another question, have you and/or TxDOT considered the proximity of the light that we already have at Hardin on Washington? Did they foresee any issues with traffic congestion or flow or anything because of those two lights being where they are located?
TxDOT did study that. That was part of the warranting process. And spacing between existing traffic signals is part of that warranting process. So they, according to TxDOT and their regulations, it does warrant having a signal at that intersection or at that crossing.
Okay.
I mean, I think what's gonna happen, the course of a river here, we're gonna, taking the path of least resistance, traffic is gonna begin to migrate down Harbin to the South Loop if they're gonna try to get to the east side of town versus taking Washington. And that's just the reality of the growth in that area.
I think you're right. Yes, sir.
Okay, these are agreements, Pat and I talked about this. I think it would be appropriate for us as a council to vote on these just to show record of our acceptance of the agreements as presented. So we're gonna vote on these individually. First is the TxDOT Stephenville agreement, and I'll entertain a motion for that, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the agreement between TxDOT and the city of Stephenville as outlined in the packet.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. McClinton, seconded by Mr. Nix to accept the agreement between Texas Department of Transportation and the city of Stephenville. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous approval of that agreement. And then the second agreement between the city of Stephenville and Tarleton State University.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the agreement between the city of Stephenville and Tarleton State University as outlined.
Second.
Okay, by a motion by Ms. Trussell, seconded by Ms. Zachary to approve the agreement between the city of Stephenville and Tarleton State University. Any discussion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries, unanimous vote on that. And I just want to quickly thank Pat and Nick, their work with Tarleton and TxDOT. I mean, this is great teamwork on your part. All right, the consent agenda is the next item on the agenda.
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Savine, second by Mr. Pendleton to accept the consent agenda as presented. Sure, the minutes from the May 3rd and the May 17th meeting. Any discussion? All right, we'll proceed to vote then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that approves the consent agenda by unanimous vote. All right, comments by the city administrator.
Okay, we've got a number of things going on in town, particularly this month, this weekend. We've got On the Bosque baseball tournament, Saturday and Sunday down the city park. We've got a community cleanup down the city park from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Mr. Allen will be heading that up. For those who are planning to have a parade entry in the July 4th parade, the deadline for putting your parade application in is June 30th. That needs to be turned in to Hannah at the SPARD office. The weather permitting, and it should, the summer concert series, Techstar Ford Summer Concert Series will kick off on June the 16th, and that will feature Ricky Skaggs. There will be, on June 14th, there will be a Public Works and Finance Committee meeting that'll be here at City Hall, June 14th, 5:30 p.m. in the training room. As you'll recall, back meeting 2 ago, council approved spending funds to have the downtown district looked at being put on National Historic Register. The city authorized that and agreed to pay for the funding of it with direction to me to seek funding from other entities. Thus far, Stedco and the Chamber have both pledged to assist in the payment of that project. So that's what they're providing is about half of what the project was initially said to cost. So we'll still be seeking some assistance from others, but was encouraged to get that assistance from those groups. I'd like to introduce one of our new employees, our new building official, Mr. Buck Kelly. Buck comes to us with a lot of experience from Athens, Texas, and he is a tremendous asset already, and we were very, very fortunate to steal him away from the city of Athens. So, Buck, welcome. The last thing I have, the 2016 population estimates came out from COG. As you all know, the city's population went up to 21,640, and the county population went up, I don't recall the exact number, but the went up 43,540. What they did, there's a couple of different categories that we are actually in. We were one of the top 12 fastest growing cities in the COG region. So I think that presents some good news potentially on the economic development front, doesn't it, John? So we're looking forward to John taking that information and going out there and selling us even more. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, great. Before I get to council member comments, Mr. Hovey, would you stand up just a second? You can stay right there. I'm betting with your voice you'll be able to do okay. Somebody had a birthday today, and we're gonna get you to help lead us in singing happy birthday for our city administrator, Pat Bridges. So, can you start us out there?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pat. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
I've known that I would have both majority of them.
So you can tell your grandkids your first official duty was singing happy birthday in Stephenville, Texas. They'll like us already. All right?
Has he been singing longer than he's been boxing, is what I want to know.
All right, now comments by council members. I'll start to my right. Mark?
I just say, John, welcome to town. Glad that you're here, sir. That's all I've got, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Carla?
Well, I want to thank Nick and Chief King and Jeremy for giving me a guided tour of the flood damage yesterday. It's overwhelming, and I hope a lot of volunteers will turn out on Saturday to help us with that. Thank you.
Doug? Brady?
6:29, that's a pretty efficient meeting, so.
Yeah. Red had to leave, another appointment. Alan?
And I also want to echo what Carla said. I was fortunate enough to get a tour of the Bosque River area, park, trail, et cetera, and it's an eye-opener, isn't it?
It is.
And I want to thank them for that, and obviously we have our work cut out for us. I also want to thank the council for the confidence to give me the opportunity to serve as Mayor Pro Tem. I will do my best to fulfill the office and the duties as appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Sherry?
I would like to echo that. It was a really great tour that we took and very informative and kind of saddening, to say the least. But I did appreciate what Jeremy and Chief King did, and I want to welcome our new economic director, so pretty cool.
Okay, great. I just got a couple of things briefly I wanted to mention. First of all, the population numbers are significant, I would say, in two ways for our community. First, it shows that there's a lot happening in our community that's very positive, that will help facilitate economic development in our community. But second, it's a signal of how critical it is for us to understand our infrastructure needs and how vehicles are going to move through town. So the efforts that we have underway to look at our pavements, our thoroughfare, and then discussions about sewer and water and streets will continue to be of importance, because as we talked about in the offsite, are we doing what this community needs as a council to look out for the long-term interests of our community? And that's our charge. And so it's great news, and with that, a challenge, I think, for us as a community. The second thing I want to mention, because it is significant for our community, and that is the decision by the company of Equibrand to relocate to Stephenville, Texas. They have Stephenville written all over them, and they are going to be a huge advocate for us, I believe, and community partner for us as we grow as a presence in the community, as an industry. I want to thank CETA for their efforts, the county, Stedco, and the city staff for their effort. This was a team effort, but let me give you a piece of information that you may not have heard. And you may not have heard it because it was a conversation that the owner and I had on the phone that I didn't realize when I said it, what it might have meant. But it shows how important a team effort is. I believe one of the key reasons why Equibrand made a decision to come to Stephenville is because we have a fire department in Stephenville that is qualified and certified and has a capacity that the competitor city does not. And when that information was made known to them, it was a significant difference in their financial decision. And so, first of all, it's very important for us as a community to realize that some of the keys to economic development are the key elements of what make a city run: fire, police, infrastructure, and the quality of life of the trail that we just talked about. So, Chief, thank you for your work. And it was one of those things that was unexpected, because the insurance company recognized the fact that we had a certified, our professional capacity of firefighting influenced the insurance company's decision, which influenced the company's financial decision, which influenced their decision to come to Stephenville. So it's interesting to see how this is a very complicated, a lot of moving parts, and I think it's just another reason it's great to have somebody like John here on point to help facilitate some of these discussions. So it's a great victory for our community, and I think it's going to be really awesome for us coming forward. The last thing, and not least, I want to thank the city staff on behalf of the council for all the hard work and hours in the torrential historic rains that we had, closing roads, setting up barricades, providing safety. It was phenomenal. It was without injury, and it is something that you're doing so well, we're beginning to take it for granted, and we shouldn't, because y'all are putting life at risk. But thank you, and the efforts just to go out. I like Carla went and drove the trail today, and it was phenomenal the amount of work that the parks and street guys had already done out there recovering the area. It was usable today. People were out there jogging and walking, and it was because they got on it right after the storm. And that's just the tenacity of this community and the character. We don't quit, and we ought to be proud of our neighbors helping each other, and for us recovering from those historic storms as we move forward. So thank you all very much. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move adjourned.
All right, second? All right, we'll adjourn at 6:34. Thank y'all, and have a great week.
There you go. Thank you, Mayor. Looking forward to serving on that. Excited. I guess that will be the
Yeah, and I'll email you.